Hey, it's Eric Powell. I want to talk about which account that you should save in or which accounts you should save in for retirement. There are a lot of different options that are out there. You have employer plans like your 401k, or maybe it's a 401a, 403b, 457, all of those. Then you have traditional IRAs. You have Roth IRAs. Then you get the term that's thrown out there, the backdoor Roth IRA. You have all of these different options, including individual and taxable accounts as well. And I want to talk about which one or which of these is probably the best fit for you, because each of them are good in one way and bad in another. So I want to break that down. But as you're watching this, I want you to really think about something. And the question I want you to think about is, when do I want to retire? And I say that for you because it all is going to depend on when you want to retire as to what is one of the best accounts for you. If you're doing the FIRE movement, that's one thing, because a lot of people want to do the financially independent retire early option. The misconception with that, though, is that a lot of people are saving in one account for that, but then they don't realize that maybe they're not going to use the money they're actually saving in, but instead what they are actually doing is developing another form of income that allows them to be financially independent and not dependent on their job. Let's just say that you work at a warehouse and it's a job that you're doing and it provides you a great income, but it's not what you want to do the rest of your life. So then you start a YouTube channel. That is where, if you start making money in the YouTube channel, you become financially independent and can choose to do the YouTube channel versus having to go to work doing the other job. So that's just one example there, and that's one of the things that you want to think about when you're opening up different accounts. Another thing you want to think about is the age you want to retire, because the average age in retirement right now is 65 for men and 63 for women. The reason for that is we continue to live longer and we have inflation. What ends up happening is you could have $1 million today, but if you retired at 50 years old, your inflation for that $1 million would actually make your money much less valuable later on in life if you live to be in your 80s. Real quick before I continue this, like this video and subscribe. This is the only way that I am able to get this content out there, and I would greatly appreciate your help. Let's go ahead and dive in and look at these different accounts and which one could be the best for you. The first one I'm going to talk about is your employer plan. If you are working somewhere and your employer has a plan such as a 401k, 401a, 457, 403b, you need to set up an account as long as they are providing a match. This is probably the best thing no matter what age you choose to retire, or if you want to be on the financially independent and retiring early, you still want to take this match, because if you put in 3% of your income, and let's just say you made $100,000, that's $3,000. If your employer also matches 3%, that's $3,000 more dollars. You just doubled your money without having to do anything else. So that is probably the best thing that you can always do to maximize growing your wealth and to be able to get where you want to be so that you can retire. So make sure that with these accounts, you're doing that. Now, with these accounts, the thing about it is a lot of employers have Roth options. Now, they're not going to give you your match as a Roth option. The reason they're not going to do that is because they have to put their money in a deferred account, because if they're actually giving you that money as a match and it's going into the 401k Roth side, the problem is that will actually show as extra income for you. So every plan that I've actually seen, the employer is putting their match in the deferred side. But what you are able to do is put your amount in the Roth side. Now, to make sure that you are making the right decision here, what you want to look at is, are you going to be in a higher tax bracket when you retire, or are you going to be in a lower tax bracket? Oftentimes people think that they are going to be in a lower tax bracket, so they go with the tax deferred side, which is more of the traditional 401k, 401a, whichever account you have. But at the same time, the Roth option is something that I really like, and the reason I like this is because we can't project where taxes will be. With the deficit right now in the US, we are thinking that the taxes will continue to creep up and you'll have a higher tax bracket potentially in retirement. Now, not only that, when you do the Roth side and you put your money in the Roth 401k, what you're doing is you are going to pay the taxes today on that money, but then it is going to grow tax-free. So that's a great option when you get into retirement, that you never have to pay taxes again, because I will say the one complaint that I have with all of my clients that are older is,
I hate paying taxes on the money that I have in my retirement accounts.
But unfortunately, they never actually had the opportunity to do the Roth IRA or they didn't meet with me until later on in life and they didn't get to do the Roth conversions before they started taking their RMDs. So with these employer plans, make sure you know which route you want to go, whether that is with the traditional side or the deferred side when you're deferring the taxes, or if you want to go with the Roth option. But just remember, if you have an employer match, that is definitely the first thing you want to do when you're picking out retirement accounts, is take that match within your employer plan. Now, for the next plan I want to talk about is the Roth IRA. I love the Roth IRA. After you've taken the employer match, this is a great opportunity for you to put up to $6,000 if you are under the age of 50. There is a catch-up option if you are over age 50 for retirement. But the trick with the Roth IRA is you have income limits. If you make too much money, you cannot do the Roth IRA. I did make a video on the backdoor Roth IRA, which is an option for those who have too high of an income, and you can check that out in the description below. But just know that the Roth IRA works a lot like when I talked about the Roth 401k. You pay the tax today, you put the money in, and it grows tax-free. It's a great option for people wanting to retire and have tax-free money in retirement. And also, if you're looking to retire early, you can actually take out all of the money that you put in and paid taxes on. Now, you can't touch the growth before 59 and a half because of the fact that the government is going to say you have to leave it until 59 and a half or you're going to pay a 10% penalty on all of the growth. So be very careful with that. You do not want to take any kind of penalties and hits on the growth, and you also end up eliminating the opportunity for the tax-free growth. They're going to count that as income as well. So do not take out any of the growth from your Roth IRA if you want to do the FIRE movement or retire early prior to 59 and a half. Now, when it comes to the traditional IRA is the other option where you can also put $6,000, or if you're over age 50, you can do the catch up. Now, all of this is for the 2021 year. It does change depending on the year. But the traditional IRA is an option for you if you believe that your tax bracket is going to be lower in retirement than it is today. This allows you to set aside money for retirement without having to pay the taxes today, and then you'll pay the taxes later, hopefully at a lower rate. Now, the problem with the traditional IRA, though, is if you have an employer plan at your job, then you are not able to defer the taxes with the traditional IRA. This gets really sticky because what ends up happening is you have partially deferred tax in your traditional IRA, and then you have some money that is not deferred. Again, it gets really confusing. I don't want to go into the weeds with this, so I also made a video on that about traditional IRAs and a big mistake. That's also in the description below. So once you get finished with this, you can go and watch those videos if you have any questions when it comes to those accounts. Now, those are just a few of the accounts. I want to go into a few more, but first I want to touch on a rule. It's called the 72T rule. Now, if you want to retire before the age of 59 and a half, and all of your money is in tax deferred accounts or in Roth accounts where you can't touch all of the growth without paying penalties, this is an option for you with the 72T rule where you can take some of that money early. Now, with the rule, though, you've got to be very careful because you need to meet with somebody and make sure you're doing this the correct way, whether that's an accountant or an advisor or anybody else. But you're going to want to take equal periodic distributions from your accounts. It's all based on a mathematical equation. You can check more of that out. I have not made a video on that, but if you want to see a video on that, be sure to comment below because I'll be happy to make one. Now let's take a look at a few more accounts. If you are self-employed, you could have the option of doing a SEP IRA or a simple IRA. Both of these are also tax deferred. They're going to work a lot like a traditional 401k in a sense. There's a lot of different rules with them, but I don't want to go into the rules in this video because that will take up more time, and I just want to give you the basics of which accounts you should be choosing for retirement. Now, if you are also self-employed, you do have a few other options. You could open up a solo 401k if you don't have employees. So just know that you have options that are out there for you. But I said that I wanted to save the best for last. This is my favorite, my personal favorite, and that is the individual account. As I had mentioned before, you want to take advantage of all of the employer benefits when it comes to a match before you ever do any other account. But the individual account is a great way for somebody who wants to save an excessive amount of money if they want to put in money past the 401k, past the Roth IRA, all of these other accounts, and they just want money that is liquid that they can retire on early. The individual account is the way to go. The way this account works is when you get money, you put it into the account and you have already paid taxes on that money. Now, anything that grows from there is going to be short or long-term capital gains. That's what you're going to have to pay for the growth. The nice thing about them, though, is it is liquid. So you can go and you can sell at any different time as long as you're investing in funds that are liquid within the account. you can pull this money out and you can use it. So if you want to retire at 45 years old and you have $2 million in your individual account, this is the perfect opportunity for you to do that without having to worry about any of the crazy rules with the IRS and the limitations they put on actual retirement accounts. So when it comes to what is best for you, there's a lot that comes into it, as I'd mentioned in this video. Now, if you want me to help you with this, I am a fiduciary financial advisor. You can go to thefuturemill.com. I'd be happy to talk to you. Just book a call or select one of our subscriptions. And if you will, be sure to comment below on different videos that you would like for me to do, because I'm happy to sit here and make these videos. I enjoy doing it, and it is nothing more than trying to educate you and make sure that you are making the right decisions for your money. Thank you for watching.